buy all the bottled water you want, and you can buy all kinds of drinks you want without containing alcohol. Society doesn't want to deal with the drug and alcohol part of this problem. They don't want to deal with that. They want to deal with, well, if we got Republicans in, we take care of homelessness. If we got rid of this, they want to look at it from a political part. Just cutting out the drug and alcohol part of the equation would greatly benefit people's lives. If you've ever worked at a homeless shelter, how many of those people are alcoholics and drug addicts? It's staggering where the problems lie. Drugs and alcohol destroy people's lives. Drugs and alcohol destroy people's lives. Drugs and alcohol destroys people's lives. And this is part of the equation that our society doesn't want to deal with. No. Because that's so, we don't want to stop people from drinking. But you can't do anything without alcohol. And now you have Christians who are like, who almost brag about the fact that they drink. Well, you may be able to drink, and it's wonderful for you. But while you're bragging about drinking, someone else begins to take up drinking because, hey, he's a Christian. He says it's okay. They start drinking. Their life doesn't turn out the way your life does. They end up an alcoholic. Well, wait a minute. You're not to do anything to cause a brother to stumble. Alcohol and drugs destroy lives. And the addiction part of homelessness cannot be denied. But our culture does not want to address the drug and alcohol issue. We don't, because it's just not accepted anymore. And that was a problem. So that's the first thing I see here. When you look at it, there is definitely a drug and alcohol component to the problem, and that has to be addressed. So I think that's just a general concept. When I think about homelessness and I think about all the things happening in our inner cities, drugs and alcohol play a major part. I can't say how much of the part, but it plays a major part. Number 2, the breakdown of the family structure. Rampant divorce, right? Children born out of wedlock. These are things that we all know, right? These things we all know. It's kind of like, I know it sounds like an oversimplification, but here's kind of a key. Don't drink. Listen, don't drink. Don't do drugs. Okay. Don't get pregnant out of wedlock. That means would be, avoiding sex until you're married. And then when you're married, right, keep that family together. Keep the family together. And one of the ways that will help keep your family together is not having drugs and alcohol in the family, because alcoholism destroys families. Drugs destroys families. Many of the homelessness, again, because of broken families, children born out of wedlock, single mother, trying to raise a child, and then sometimes still doing drugs and alcohol, even as a single parent. These are just key elements to, I'm not saying it fixes all homelessness. But these are some key things. And the church should be proclaiming these ideas. Don't drink. Stay out of drugs. No sex before marriage. And then do everything you can to fix the marriage that you're in, to strengthen it. These are just basic concepts. But here's where I wanted to go live to at least bring up this issue. All right. Those are things that have to be done to try to prevent homelessness. All right. Hopefully those are things that can be done to try to convince the people who are homeless to fix their alcohol and drug problems to possibly make it better. But here is the issue I want to ask every Christian who's listening. This is my challenge to the church. What is our responsibility? What is our responsibility to the problem? What is our responsibility to the problem? What should the church do? All right, and I'll just read this. 1 John chapter 3. Sorry about my dog there. 1 John chapter 3. I'll look at verse 17. All right. But whoso hath this world's good, and seeth his brother have need, and shutteth up his bowels of compassion from him, how dwelleth the love of God in him? But whoso hath this world's good, seeth his brother have need, and shutteth up his bowels of compassion from him, how dwelleth the love of God in him? That's 1 John chapter 3, verse 17. As Christians, who, as this passage says, has the world's good, what is the responsibility of Christians? What is the responsibility of churches to those who are in need? What are churches who have $1 million budgets, $1 million buildings, thousands of people who attend every Sunday, giving all kinds of money? What is the responsibility of those churches to those in need? What should they do? What programs should they develop? What should they do? Instead of building a fellowship hall, a place for the teenagers to play games and the church to stuff their face, should they be using that facility to help those in need? What is the responsibility of the church? Now, everybody wants to blame politicians, and there's plenty of political policies that can be blamed for some of the homelessness, even in San Francisco. We could look at some of the policies passed there that has created part of their problem. But if you're a church there in San Francisco, what is your responsibility? You can sit there and yell about the politics, but what's your responsibility to those in need? Doesn't the Bible seem to imply that we should do something for those in need? I don't know what the policies should be. I don't know what the church should do, but there seems to be a biblical mandate for it. Whosoever hath this world's good, and seeth his brother have need, and shutteth up his bowels of compassion from him, how dwelleth the love of God in him? My little children, let us not love in word, neither in tongue, but in deed and in truth. Here's what I'll do. I'll end with this. There's a homelessness problem in the United States of America, and we've got certain cities in America, certain parts of certain cities in America that are starting to look like third world nations. And all of those cities, there are churches. What is the responsibility of the church to the situation around them? Obviously, we must proclaim the gospel. Obviously, I think we can call people to no alcohol, no drugs, no sex before marriage, keep marriages together. Those are all seems to be, foundational societal ideas that could help the problem. But when you look out and you see those in need, what is the responsibility of the church? To simply say, "Well, pray for you," to simply just hand homeless people money? I think that's a bad idea. What should they do? How can we feed them? How can we help them? Now, typically, most cities contain homeless shelters that are usually Christian or are supported by Christians, but sometimes they're parachurch organizations trying to take care of the homelessness. Where are the church? Not the parachurch. Where is the church? Some of these churches that have $1 million budgets, they probably could open their own shelter and staff it and support it, instead of being a parachurch organization or trying to get money from the government to fund your homeless shelter. Something to think about. All right, I'll stop right there. Just a few thoughts. I read the news article, wanted to throw out a few thoughts, and apologize for the dog, but he wasn't too bad. But I had to let him out of the room. All right, we'll stop right there. That's what happens when you do a live broadcast. All right. There you have it. 1 John 3:17. I would challenge you to do a lot of cross-reference and find other verses about it, but it's something I want you to think about. Wherever you are, whatever church you go to, what is your church's responsibility to a problem that is growing across the United States of America? All right. Thank you for listening. God bless.